want to tell you why I went to Guatemala for the first time. I was on the pastor committee, the pastor search committee for Jody Welcome. The church gave us the task of finding someone to lead our church who had international mission experience. And we found Jody and we called Jody and he accepted his call. And then, after he'd been there for a while, he decided that we needed to go somewhere internationally. He didn't care where we went, but we needed to go somewhere internationally, and we settled on Guatemala because we knew somebody in Guatemala, David Wiseman, and it made it easy for us to go. The reason that I went was because I was on the committee. I felt like I should go just because we called him. I was on his committee, and I thought it was the best thing to do. I had no intention of ever going on any more mission trips. I had never been on a mission trip before, but I went and I got hooked, and I've been going back ever since.
When we first came to Guatemala in July 2006, we came really just to start, just to do an international mission trip and see what that entailed, with no thought of having it become a permanent project. But a core group of us, Wendy Segretti, Jennifer Muse, Brenda Armstrong, Hal Jordan, and myself, maybe one or two others, really felt called to come back here. So after we got home that July, we started having a series of meetings throughout much of the fall, and we investigated what other people do and talked about what we wanted to do. We still didn't have a thought about what we wanted to do. We just knew we wanted to come back and work in the village of Palau. So in January of 2007, Hal and I came back to Guatemala and spent 4 really hectic days in a series of meetings with Presbyterian officials, PCUSA mission co-workers, a governing committee made up of Guatemalans that work with mission teams, and we spent a day in the village of Palau talking to them about forming a partnership and how we wanted to form a partnership with them. Then over the course of the years, we've brought, I don't even know how many teams back, and it slowly but surely developed into our scholarship program. Carol Hamilton and Patty Snow came on the second large group meeting, and they, along with Susan, on the second large group trip, they, along with Susan Mazzara, have really taken the education component. We started a mini loan program. Barney Hale came on that second group in 2008, and he kind of took ownership with the mini loan program. A group of us went together when we built the library. We opened the computer center, and some of our computer techno nerds took charge of that. Craig Nygaard, Steve Poe, Bill Boyle, Rick Muse, Amir Edwards has worked with it some. And then my husband Mike has come to work with the people just on basic health care. He's taken the lead on some healthcare programs we've started. So it's something that's just kind of grown and developed organically. We didn't have a real vision of where this would go. We didn't have a committee structure. As we've taken new people, if they're interested in being more involved, they're on the Guatemala Mission Committee, and each person takes responsibility for what they feel led to take, and it's worked.
We're here in Antigua, and I just really want to talk a little bit about why the mission work in Guatemala is so important to me. You can invest in things and buildings and books and libraries, and that's significant. But for me, the biggest investment that I feel I've made is in the relationships with the people, especially the students. If I had to pick where I had the biggest connection with a student or the most powerful point of contact, it's with the university girls. To watch those girls, their confidence, the empowerment that they feel, and to look back at how I saw the girls on my first trip, how those same girls were shy, they covered their mouth, the boys wouldn't even listen to them when they were talking, and these are girls whose parents maybe went through 1 year of primary school. Now they're at university, they've passed Básico, they've passed Diversificado, and they are successful university students. Katerina is one that just gives me goosebumps. When she started nursing school, the director really didn't think she'd even make it. She'd wash out, and she graduated first in her class. I think for me, spiritually, it's hard to express, but my personal theology is the kingdom of God is at hand, and I see the work that we do here trying to make heaven on earth as much as we can.
Well, I guess the reason that I decided to come to Guatemala in the first place was my dad and Virginia Anthony had come before. Know Virginia a very long time. Of course, knew my father all my life. These are people I knew very well, and they came back, and they were just changed people. The change in them was so noticeable and so obvious, and such a great thing that I actually knew before I went kind of what was in store for me. That this was going to be a life-changing experience, and it turned out to be just that. And the reason I keep going back is just it makes you a better person. It enhances your faith. It was everything I saw on their faces when they came back the first time proved to be very real for myself.
I didn't think that I was called to do any mission work, but it turns out that I was.